Hello everyone, I am Jillian Miller from BEd 1A and today I am tasked to discuss to you about the biological conservation. So biological conservation, the word biological refers to anything related to living organisms, including plants, animals, and microorganisms. While when we say conservation, it involves protection, preservation, and management of natural resources, including biological diversity. So, conservation biologists use the term umbrella refer to a species with a wide-ranging habitat. An umbrella species acts as a protector for many other species because conserving its habitat automatically safeguards the habitat of numerous plants and other animals that share its environment. Umbrella species, it is like holding an umbrella over a group, providing protection to everything underneath. Biological conservation is essential for maintaining the well-being of both human societies and the planet as a whole. And there are 6 examples of biological conservation, and these examples illustrate how biological conservation practices contribute to the preservation and sustainability of ecosystems. So the first example of biological conservation is the nutrient cycling. So by ensuring the efficient recycling of nutrients, biological conservation maintains soil fertility, supports plant growth, and sustains the productivity of ecosystems, thereby providing their overall health. Second is the soil respiration. Conserving soil respiration processes ensures the maintenance of soil structure, fertility, and carbon storage. Third is the pollination. Conserving pollination contributes to biodiversity conservation and ensures the sustainability of ecosystems and agricultural systems. Fourth is the fire disturbance. Implementing fire disturbance conservation strategies helps preserve ecosystems adapted to periodic burning. And the fifth is the food web dynamics. Conserving food web dynamics supports biodiversity conservation and ecosystems functioning. And the last example of biological conservation is the symbiotic relationships. Conserving symbiotic relationship enhances ecosystems productivity and stability. And this photo is to be continued to discuss by the next reporter and to explain to you what is this all about. Thank you.
So, good day everyone. I am Relisa Martinez Chavez and this is the continuation of the report of Group 9 which talks about the biological conservation. Conserving biodiversity is very important as we see a huge variety of organisms existing on this earth which are extremely valuable. And since Earth is the only planet with much diverse life forms, it is important for us to know how to conserve biodiversity. So, what can we do to conserve biodiversity? So, a lot of animals as well as plant species, they face extinction and they become extinct after a long period of time. A known example is the dinosaurs. So dinosaurs exist a long time ago but now they do not exist anymore and the many more species that become extinct. So what can we do to conserve biodiversity? So there are 2 approaches in conserving biodiversity. The first one is the in situ conservation and the ex situ conservation. So in situ conservation, it is the on-site conservation, and the ex situ conservation, it is the off-site conservation. And my task is to discuss the in situ conservation or the on-site conservation, which is the conservation within the habitat. So in situ conservation also, they are protecting endangered species in its natural habitat. So when we say endangered species, these are the species which are facing the danger of becoming extinct. So they still exist, but their numbers or their population have reduced quite a bit. So we should take special care of this species so we can avoid extinction. Also, in situ conservation, we are protecting them from the predators or those organisms which tries to eat these species. So any kind of harm from anybody who tries to kill them or hunt them, they can be protected. It means that the natural habitat is restricted to hunting. So in situ conservation also, we are protecting the habitat. So not just the animals, but as well as their habitat. And sometimes, human activities such as deforestation could affect the habitat of species. Animals don't have their habitat anymore, and as a result, animals do not get food until they cannot survive. So in this case, in situ conservation, it ensures that nobody can harm the animals on the habitat. So these two things is taken care in situ conservation. So there are three examples of in situ conservation: the wildlife sanctuary, the national park, and the biosphere reserves. In wildlife sanctuary, between 1931 to 2016, 543 sanctuaries were established in India that cover 118,918 kilometers squared. So in wildlife sanctuary, no forest could be cleared for agricultural purposes. Hence, killing, hunting, poaching is prohibited, but local people can gather flowers, fruits, firewood, medical plants in a small amount. Sa wildlife sanctuary, this is a protected area set aside for the conservation and protection of wildlife and their habitats. So, kaning area, muna siya place ni siya para sa mga various species of animals, mga birds, and mga plants to thrive without human disturbance. So, set aside ni siya nga area para sa ilaha. So, wildlife sanctuaries aims to preserve biodiversity, prevent habitat destruction, and promote the well-being of wildlife population. So, this area also serve as an important sites for scientific research, education, and ecotourism. Actually, in wildlife sanctuaries, gina-allow nila ang visitors. They allow visitors to observe and appreciate the beauty of nature while respecting the needs of the wildlife. In national park, it is an area set aside by a national government for the preservation of the natural environment. So, a natural park may be set aside for public recreation and enjoyment for its historical or scientific interest, while still keeping most landscape and their accompanying plants and animals in their natural state. So, they are living in their own habitat or their natural habitat. So we do not disturb the animals at all. So you have to put a boundary and ensure that whoever visits, they can visit. But they are not allowed to cause any kind of harm to the animals. So they're not allowed to cause any harm to animals, and their habitat is protected as well. And the last one is the biosphere reserve. So when we say biosphere reserves, it is a special category of protected areas of lands or coastal environments where people are an integral component of the system. So the first biosphere reserve of the world was established in 1979, since the network of biosphere reserves has increased to 531 in 105 countries. So when we say biosphere reserves, it is a protected areas meant for the conservation of plants and animals. And in this area, this serves as the living laboratories for testing and demonstrating innovative approaches to conservation and sustainable land use. So meaning this area is designated areas that aim to conserve biodiversity while promoting sustainable development. So there are three objectives of biosphere conservation. So the first one is a conservation functions. It is to contribute to the conservation of landscape, ecosystem, and species variation. So in conservation functions, so this involves protecting the habitats, the animals, the endangered species, and the genetic diversity within the designated area. So by conserving these natural resources, biosphere helps maintain ecological balance and support the long-term health of the ecosystem. The second one is a development function. So in biosphere reserves, it aims to foster economic and human development which is socio-culturally and ecologically sustainable. So, in development function, nangita sila mga activities which promotes the well-being of the local communities while minimizing the negative impacts on the environment. So, ang ilang ginahimo nila is sustainable development initiatives, mga project, mga sustainable agriculture and renewable energy projects that provides economic opportunities while preserving the natural resources. And the last objective is it is a logistic function. So meaning it aims to provide support for research, monitoring, education, and information exchange related to local, national, and global issues of conservation and development. And the last one is the logistic function. So in logistic function, they facilitate the exchange of knowledge locally, nationally, and globally, wherein ang mga stakeholders, they address the conservation and development challenges effectively, wherein they educate people, they raise awareness about biodiversity, conservation, and sustainable living practices. It is important to note that protecting biological diversity is essential for maintaining ecosystem services, supporting well-being, and preserving the planet's natural heritage. And I guess that concludes my report. The next reporter will explain about the XC2 conservation. Thank you.
So good day everyone, and now we'll be discussing the XC2 conservation. So XC2 conservation is the conservation and maintenance of samples of living organisms outside their natural habitat in the form of whole plants, seeds, pollen, vegetative propagules, tissue, or cell cultures. So in short, XC2 conservation, it is the off-site conservation or conservation of living organism outside their natural habitat. So, seed bank. A seed or germplasm bank is a place where suitable conditions are maintained to conserve seeds, specimen of different plant species. So, seed bank, it is a place where seeds are conserved in order for them to be protected, because in order for safeguard for species for future use, just like for example for research and breeding purposes. So this is the example of seed bank. So next is a zoo. So we all know, or we all familiar about the zoo because common na siya sa ato sa bata pata kay sa mga field trips. So zoo is conservation practices entails captive breeding, species introduction programs, species survival plans, and the use of zoo revenue for conservation programs in the wild. So zoo, it is the conservation of wild animals or wild or endangered species where they are maintained and protected kan wala sila sa ilahang natural habitat. So this is the example or the picture of the zoo. So next is the botanical garden. So it is a garden dedicated to the collection, cultivation, and display of a wide range of plants labeled with their natural names. So it may contain specialist plant collections such as cacti and other succulent plants, herbs gardens, plants forms of particular parts of the world, and so on. So botanical garden, it is a place where a different kind of plants are conserved, um, in order for them to conserve for devote their resources of for the study and conservation of plants, as well as making the world's plant species diversity known to be public. So ang botanical garden dira gina-conserve ang mga different kind of plants. So seed bank, mga muna siya ang place where mga seeds are conserved. So ang zoo, a place where different animals or endangered species are also conserved. So and then the botanical garden, the place where plants are conserved. So ex situ conservation, again, it is the off-site conservation of the living organism. Outside means wala sila sa ilang natural habitat. So that's all my topic. Thank you.